Fever FM, the number one choice in Leeds.
ओके मेरे दोस्तों हमारे पास आज दो लेडीज़ मौजूद हैं जो कि जिनका तलक एना प्रोजेक्ट में है जो कि वेस्ट यॉर्कशायर में बेस्ड हैं और मैं आपकी मुलाकात कराने लगा हूँ डविनिया क्लार्क से जो कि इसकी कोऑर्डिनेटर है और उनके साथ एक मेहमान है उनसे मैं मुलाकात आपकी थोड़ी देर के बाद कराऊंगा लेकिन फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ डविनिया से वेलकम टू फीवर एफएम डविनिया
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Can you please tell us a little bit about the ANAH project?
So we're what's called a safe house. So we help females who are suffering domestic violence. So we're specialists in Black, Asian, minority, ethnic and refugee women specifically. However, we do open as doors to all women, but we are a specialist refuge. So we're a safe house that offers bed space of 16. So we have up to 16 bed spaces. And we're just there to offer a safe and secure space for people who are suffering domestic violence to explore their options. So even if they don't want to come and stay at the safe house, we also offer telephone support. We can point in the direction of legal support should they need immigration support. We offer emotional and practical support.
Oh, that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. So you don't limit yourself to just one...
No, and it's a national number, so we can help anybody nationally across the UK because people have to relocate for different reasons for safety. But ultimately, we just want to be there to offer victims of domestic violence in all forms somewhere safe to go.
Davina, domestic violence, it is on the rise. Can you tell me what sort of figures are involved in this at the moment?
Yeah, so we know due to the pandemic that domestic abuse the numbers has increased. That's due for lots of different reasons. Pressures of people being stuck in a household with perpetrators, the financial constraints and different elements, but they're all excuses because there's never no excuse for violence. You know, domestic violence is unfortunately a gendered crime. So although we know it happens to male victims,
yes,
which is underreported, and same-sex couples, we do know that 1 in 4 women will suffer domestic violence and 1 in 6 men.
1 in 4?
Yeah. If you count Scotland in there, it's actually 1 in 3.
Oh dear, dear.
So it is a gendered crime, so it does predominantly happen more to female, but we do know it does happen to male as well.
Does it mean serious violence or, just like a slap on the face or something like that? Does that come into it as well?
So the law has now, the new domestic violence bill that is now a legal law within the UK recognises about coercive control as well. And so that means, I think people automatically assume domestic violence equates to a black eye or a broken bone, but that is not always the case. You have emotional abuse where somebody, and coercive control, and these are all methods where somebody will make the other person do what they want through different methods, not violence, but just the threat of violence and persistent patterns of behaviours to make the other person in fear.
How does one realise this is coercive control or abuse?
So it's really difficult for some people who are in that situation because they are stripped of their identity. They are stripped of they might be gaslighted, which means when somebody makes you doubt your own sense of understanding. So it is difficult to recognise, but there's lots of things, literature and online presence that somebody could access. But I would say if they do that to clear the history so that the perpetrator or perpetrators don't know that they're actually seeking support, because we do know that when a victim of domestic violence plans to leave, that's when they're at greatest risk of homicide. So actually, when that person decides to leave the relationship or the family setting, that the risk of domestic homicide increases. So it's really important that if somebody does recognise or they have that inkling, they feel like this is not right, they don't have the freedoms to go where they want, they don't have the freedom to spend money on what they want, what they wear, they're all signs and indicators of domestic violence.
Do you know, I mean, obviously, you work in this field. What is the cause of domestic violence? Is it just abusive behavior? Somebody wants to be strong and be controlling?
So the
or-
theory behind it is that it's about power and control. So it's about one person using an array of different tactics such as isolation, threats, intimidation, financial abuse, emotional abuse, to get the person to conform to do what they want. Ultimately, when that doesn't happen, it can then escalate to physical violence. But as I've said previously, I want people to move away that domestic violence is always physical, because it doesn't always have to be a physical act. It can be the threat of violence. So me, say for example, saying, or the person saying, I'm not going to do that because this might happen, or I'm not going to do that because they might financially cut me off.
Yes, yeah.
So there's lots of different tactics, but ultimately it's about power and control. It's about one person trying to exert power and control over the other person.
Has anybody sort of looked into it? Why do these people want to have the control? Why do they do it?
So there's lots of different theories out there, but ultimately the human beings, they're really complex people, aren't we? And there can be accumulation and lots of different things. I'm not a professor, I don't
Right, okay,
pretend to be one. So I'm not really sure. My understanding is that it's about power and control, but what drives the person to do that, it could be a number of different things, I think, personally. I think it could be a lots of different things that drive somebody to do that, but ultimately it's about that person wanting control over the other.
So it's not associated with a particular race or particular...
No. So unfortunately it doesn't discriminate.
No.
It doesn't discriminate against class, race or gender.
Whether you're rich or poor.
Whether you're rich or poor, whether, because there's sometimes a stereotype that it only happens to poor, deprived
yes.
communities, and that's unfortunately untrue. It can happen to lots of different people, and actually the perpetrators can come from different classes as well, and professions as well.
Yes.
Sometimes people think, if you're educated, then you couldn't be a victim of the crime, or you couldn't be a perpetrator of domestic violence, and that's untrue.
Right. So
That's untrue.
Okay, we are obviously going to be talking this for a while, and we've got a lady here. Let me introduce this. We're calling her Salma. May I just say that, this is not the lady's real name. We're just using it for the time being. Obviously, she wants to keep anonymous, and we respect that. Salma's been come to you for seeking help. Hello.
Hiya.
How are you, Salma?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
Well, we are fine. And you are going to tell us something about yourself.
All right, okay. So I was going to, this is how it all started, like the story of mine. I went to Pakistan. I got told I'm going to Pakistan for a month.
Right.
And I was starting education the next month, which would put me into year 11. And I got told we're going for a month, but I ended up staying for 8 months.
Right.
And I found out later on that they were planning me, on keeping me longer, and I overheard my mum and dad speaking about extending my ticket in Pakistan. And obviously when I found out, I wasn't happy at all. And what happened was, when I did find out, there was like really nothing I could do about it. Obviously I was in Pakistan that time, but when we came back to the UK, I told my close friend about this. She knew my situation, what I was going through, and how long I had stayed there. So when I went to my mate's house, her parents knew what I was going through. So obviously they contacted the police. So I was involved with the police.
Can I just sort of get into this? Salma, you were born here in England.
Yeah, in the UK, yeah.
Is it to the Pakistani parents?
Yeah.
Right. And do you mind me asking what sort of age grouping are you in?
Age group I'm in? I'm 19 at the moment.
Right. And had you not been to Pakistan before?
I have been twice before that.
And what made you sort of worry about this time?
Worry about this time because I overheard conversations about me that I didn't know about, and what they were planning for me to get married to someone that I didn't know of.
Right.
So basically forced marriage.
So did you have, obviously, you're born and bred here, gone to school and everything here, and as normal people do, you make friends and whatever.
Yeah.
Thing. But, did your parents did they give you any indication here that are they not happy with the way you are
No, I was an
going
A-star student. I was like really good at school. I was committed to my education. So I was really like committed into school. I was happy going to school. So yeah, I just didn't know anything about this, what was happening and what they were planning.
Can I just ask you, I mean, this, you may not be able to answer me this. Maybe in parents' mind, me being a Pakistani as well,
Yeah.
we look at our parents, and when we're bringing our children up,
Yeah.
we want them to conform to our traditions and the way everyone's been brought up. Yeah, okay, you're gonna get married, you're gonna have a nice life, and
Yeah.
did you feel that your parents weren't looking at your best interest, or?
Obviously, parents do what's best for their children, but sometimes like that's not always the case, or they think that's what's best for the child. But with my situation, I didn't know about me getting married, and obviously that was unfair to me because me getting married to someone I don't know at all.
Right. Did you have a boyfriend here, or
No.
Any relationship
No.
whatsoever? No thoughts of getting married? Or...
No thoughts of getting married. I was just someone who just wanted to
concentrating
study, concentrate on my studies.
So you found the experience. You came back after 8 months. Did you get married, or?
No, so I came back after 8 months, and obviously that's what I was speaking about before. I was at my mate's house, and obviously her family did tell the police what had happened with me. So I was at the police station, and I was speaking to an Asian police officer.
Yeah.
And obviously I told him my story, and he obviously, when I was in Pakistan, people did come to the house to see me and ask for marriage. Obviously, I declined all of them. And when I told the police officer that, he goes, that's natural for it to happen. Obviously, people do.
Yes,
back, obviously, it is natural, but in my circumstance, it was different, the whole circumstance. For me to get married to someone, obviously, I didn't know. It's different when a person knows about it. So arranged marriage, both people know about it and that they want to get married. Fair enough. They can live a happy life. But me, I didn't know who I was going to get married to. And obviously they were planning.
Salma, can I ask you, from childhood to growing up,
Yeah.
what was your relationship with your parents?
I'd say I was really, really close with my dad.
Right.
So I was really close to my dad.
Did you talk to him about, everything, general things?
Yeah, everything. If I ever had a problem, I'd go to my dad. I think our relationship broke down after me leaving from home, and obviously he wasn't happy with the fact that I didn't want to get married to who they wanted me to get married to. So I think that's where our relationship broke down. But when I was young, I was close to both parents, but mainly closer to my dad.
Right.
I did get along with my mum as well, but I was just generally close to my dad.
The girls are sometimes, usually most of the time,
Very,
Yeah,
very
close
close
to
to
the
them.
father.
Father and mum. Are they mums?
Yeah.
So anyway, obviously, can I ask you how many siblings have you got?
How many siblings I've got? I've got 3 sisters and 3 brothers.
And how do they feel, with this situation you've been
So obviously with the situation, me leaving home, it was really hard. It was a big decision for me to take, and it took me a lot of strength to do it. Whereas obviously I was a second mum to my own siblings at home.
Right.
And it did affect me a lot, and it did affect them as well, because obviously they did miss me a lot. I hadn't seen them for, say, 2 years. So it was really hard for me and for them, obviously, missing their sister. But for me, my circumstance, it was really hard because I wanted to get myself into education.
Yeah. And you couldn't do that. Were your parents, were they stopping you,
Yeah,
Going further
so basically,
education.
when they wanted me to get married, that means no education for me or anything, just get married, sit at home, obviously cook, clean, like normal housewife, how they usually do it.
Right. How long did it take you to make that final decision? Was it this the only reason you wanted to leave?
Or
Yeah, this was the reason I left home. And obviously it was certain type of abuses as well. So obviously my family telling my siblings not to speak to me, things like that as well. So it did have a big effect on me.
No. So your family, they stopped talking to you,
Yeah.
and so you're left on by
Yeah.
yourself. Oh dear. It does happen. It does
happen
Yeah, it
quite
does
a lot.
happen.
Doesn't it? Do you know any of other friends? It's happened similar thing to.
No, but I have I've known certain people who have been in hostels and everything, and obviously talking about me, how I got into ANAH. I went through. I was at a help centre, so where someone was helping me, where they were holding me temporary until they found me a space. So through there, I was staying at another place for 2-3 days until they found a place at ANAH, and I'd got told so to find ANAH it was only about 2-3 days.
Right.
And then obviously when I went ANAH, I knew no one in that town. I knew no one. So I went there, and then obviously ANAH helped me getting back into education, which was my main priority,
Yes.
because I obviously just wanted to focus on my education.